News anchor with about 30 years experience covering hurricanes. Charles, pleasure having you on the program. A lot of Canadians vacation in your neck of the woods. Some have homes. What can you tell them about the area?
Well, we can tell you that we dodged a bullet again. Right out of the gate, let's put some perspective on this. Tampa hasn't had a direct hit by a hurricane in more than 100 years. So everybody says that we are due. So last year we had a very close call, with Ian, and then he turned at the last minute and we were spared, but Fort Myers got annihilated. So we know what it means to be in danger, and we could have been if this storm would have turned toward us as a Cat 4. Fortunately, that did not happen for Tampa, but people here definitely heed the warnings. And you can see over my shoulder, this is just one home in the historic district in Tampa, and you can see this owner here had a very clear message: loot, die. Let's take you into our first piece of video. It's from Reddington Shores Beach. For people who live in Canada, there are a lot of people who have homes and property over there. They vacation over there. And this is what it looked like about 3:30 in the morning. Gulf Boulevard, that's what you're looking at here. It doesn't appear as if it ever got any worse than this. Even with high tide, we had a king tide last night, which was even worse. But the storm surge was significantly greater. So there's going to be a lot of cleaning up there. Now let's move to our next piece of video, which is daylight in Pasco County. That is the county north of Hillsborough. And this is what people saw along the Pitlochry River, very close to the coast of Newport Richey in Pasco County. This is courtesy of my source, Brian Farrow, and Pasco News on Facebook. He provided some of this video, and they had said they had never seen the river that high in Pasco County. We did have the opportunity to speak with one resident up there in Pasco County and what he saw as he was getting ready for bed. Let's listen.
I didn't go to sleep until 3 o'clock, and at 3 o'clock there was still 2 feet of seawall. So I went to bed. Then my wife woke up at 4 o'clock and said that the water is now over the seawall.
Okay, so we dodged a bullet here in Tampa, but there is going to be a lot of cleanup to our north in the Panhandle. You guys obviously have been covering that. You've seen some of the damage and some of the pictures that are coming in already. But once again, Tampa is spared. More than 100 years without a direct hit. Back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, what about the power outage situation? What's that like?
We're going to tell you about the power outages here in Tampa Bay. Roughly about 250,000 people without power. But because the linemen were already in place and the winds never went above 45 miles an hour, that's when they cut off service because it's too dangerous for them to work. They were actually out in the community all night. So at least about half of those people are back connected now, and it may be down to like 25, 50 at the last time that I checked. Very different story up in the Panhandle, where 500,000 people are without power and possibly more.
Yeah, it's definitely worth sticking with you on this. Such a great job showing us around there. We also understand a tree has fallen on the governor's mansion in Tallahassee, but there are 2 different stories. What's up there?
Yeah, it's always like that in politics, isn't it? We originally heard from Casey DeSantis, that is the governor's wife, and she went on X or Twitter and said that there was a 100-year-old oak that had fallen on the mansion. And then a short time later, the governor basically contradicted his wife and said, no, that's not the case. It split and a part of it fell on the house. Now, that's all arguing semantics. It's either on the house or it isn't. But they're going to have some cleanup there. And this is just an example of what happens when you have a Cat 4 storm coming through. A 100-year-old oak tree is an incredibly strong tree. I'm sure you guys know all about this stuff. So if it splits and it is blown like a missile, it can take out an entire house. I mean, it can take out multiple houses depending on how big it is. So they're going to have some cleanup there up in Tallahassee in the state capital.
Charles Billi, thank you for your reporting and giving us a show and tell down there. Really appreciate it.
Yep. To all of our Canadian friends up there, things are still great here in the Tampa region, and we welcome you with open arms. We'll see you soon.
Okay, very kind. Thank you. You're watching CBC News Network. We're back in a moment.